Hey everyone, welcome back to Dev Parkour. In this video, I want to pose a question. And that question is the offsite office becoming a thing? Let me break that down and explain kind of what I mean. So prior to the pandemic, there were these two concepts. There was work and there was the office. And they were pretty much linked together. Work happened at an office, and companies had offices where the bulk of their work got done. Now, even prior to the pandemic, there were still some fully remote, fully distributed companies, but by and large, most companies had one or more offices, and that is where the work of the company got done. When the pandemic came around, early 2020, those two concepts were forcibly disconnected from each other. Work continued to happen, except work happened at home offices, other remote locations. People might have taken the opportunity to go to a place where they could feel safe from the pandemic, and continue to work from a remote location. The office was relatively quiet. Most offices completely shut down. There were a few industries where offices continued to have activity, but especially in the tech sector, most offices were silent. I can remember the company that I was working at the beginning of the pandemic. I think there were one or two people who went into the office, and that was purely IT support roles, because there were machines there that needed to be supported. Whereas prior to the pandemic, there were hundreds of people in that office. It was a fairly large office. So a drastic shift. Now, as the pandemic subsides, and as people start figuring out what normal looks like for them, we're starting to see people, or continuing to see people, both find jobs that they really want to work at and find places that they really want to live, and focus on those two areas as kind of independent aspects of their lives, as they should, absolutely, as they should. You shouldn't live in a place that you don't enjoy living just because that's where you have to be to do a job. If you can do a job from anywhere in the world, that frees you up to live wherever you want, wherever is most appropriate for you to live. And that is absolutely fantastic. But there are still these two concepts. There's work, which continues, and then there's office. Now, there are definitely some perks of being in an office. I'm not going to say in the office, in an office, right? Some people actually enjoy a commute. Not necessarily LA traffic or New York City traffic or something like that, but some people enjoy getting in their car, going 10, 15 minutes, maybe even half an hour away from the house, and that represents a mental shift for them. They like getting out of the house and going to work, physically going to, well, I guess not to work, physically going to an office. And if you're living in a place that is not where your company has an office, what do you do? What are your options for a commute or something like that? The other aspect that to be honest, I kind of miss from an office is kind of the social aspect. I really liked working at, well, I like working at most of the jobs that I've had over the years, because of the people that are there, because I can have conversations with them about, realistically, not about work. And that's the important part for me. And I think that's kind of forms the basis of my question, is I don't think the importance of a physical office is being in the same place with people that you work with, because you're going to have meetings with the people that you work with. You're going to have Zoom calls with the people that you work with. You're going to exchange emails, Slack messages. You're going to communicate with the people that you work with. That's not an issue. But what really benefits you from going to an office is kind of those additional extra conversations that are outside the context of work, hearing about people's side projects. If you're in a co-working space, hearing about the things that other people are working on, that is their work, right? We like talking about the things that we're doing. We like hearing about what other people are doing. We like learning about what they're working with, new technologies, how they're leveraging them. And there can even be opportunities for innovation. You know, we hear that someone is doing something in a related field, and you know, it kind of sparks our creativity, and we realize that there's something different we could be doing in our field. Or if there's something that is brand new that no one in our company is working with, but someone from another company is working with, it gives us the opportunity to work with that person and learn from that person and get direction on where to learn more and how to learn more, and how to use best practices and not just, you know, stumble through it. So I really think there's value in not just surrounding ourselves by people who are working, but by people who are working for companies other than ourselves, or other than our own, rather. So getting back to the original question, is the offsite office becoming a thing? I have seen some people who had a home office for a while, but they wanted to have that commute. They actually rented an office that was like just a single room just for them. And that's fine. You know, maybe that's fine for you too. But kind of the situation that I'm more thinking of is kind of a middle ground between that and your traditional co-working space where just about anybody can have a membership. I'm thinking along the lines of a group of, we'll just call them friends, kind of going in together on an office suite. So everybody still has their own office, but within the context of, these are a bunch of people who I trust, who I you know, enjoy talking to, I like getting feedback from, I like learning from, and you know, we have an office. Well, it is really an office. We have an office together, even though we don't all work for the same company. So that's my question to you. There's definitely a spectrum here for offsite office, and offsite meaning not at home, but also not at a corporate office. So do you think that the offsite office is either becoming a thing or will become a thing, or is it something you would be interested in engaging in? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Yeah, thoughts, opinions. Do you think it'll work? Do you think it makes sense? Do you really enjoy working from home and have no interest in talking to people, you know, in person, you know, for the most part ever again? I really want to know what you think of this. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you found this conversation insightful, go ahead and give this video a good old thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, and I will see you tomorrow.